Have you ever dreamed of a vacation in a romantic seaside resort? What about weathered, shake-shingled cottages? Gardens in full bloom with picket fences? Now add massive rock monoliths rising from the surf just off a wide sandy beach. You're not dreaming. You've just described Cannon Beach, Oregon. Never been there? Well, neither have most of these 20-something young couples. They all love to travel, and growing up, they've already traveled a good part of the world. But will they be romanced by a tiny coastal town? Well, we're about to find out, because Cannon Beach is where they're getting away together. You've probably seen photographs and wondered, where is this? This place has become one of the trademarks of the state of Oregon. Cannon Beach draws much of its spirit and power from its natural surroundings. Sunlight that's perfect for an artist's canvas or a photographer's lens, a coastal mountain range, a dense rainforest, a powerful ocean, and the landmark Haystack Rock teeming with marine life. These iconic images define this seaside destination. Cannon Beach is right on the north coast of Oregon, just 75 miles west of Portland. But in a crowded commercial world, it might as well be 1,000 miles from nowhere. Back in the 1890s, the only road to Cannon Beach had 111 curves and took 7.5 hours. Beginning with a few hardy settlers, Cannon Beach residents were sustained by lumbering and some fishing, but it continued to be a very remote place until the 1920s, when telephones, traffic, and tourism rediscovered Cannon Beach. But the remoteness of this place also fostered a special closeness and unity among its citizens, and that same spirit is something it shares with its guests to this day. Cannon Beach is a place that says welcome and come as you are, but it also says leave us as we are.
How close is our house to the beach?
It's right, you can see that. Guys, we're 0.8 miles away. 0.8, perfect.
Some of these three young travelers have known each other since childhood. Others met in high school. Diane and Ted Farron and Abby and Ralph Gochner are from Salt Lake City. Emmy and Chase Rigby are sort of the ringleaders. They orchestrated the trip from their home in the Silicon Valley of California.
How many bedrooms, though, can you see?
There's 4. And I got view from the balcony. Oh my cow.
That is perfect.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we're gonna be right down there by the beach.
We were looking left and right, and I think it was Diane that was following on her iPhone, trying to figure out, you know, kind of shouting out the addresses as we went by.
There it is. Oh my gosh.
You could tell because it looked exactly like it did on the internet.
Hey everyone, here we go.
This is great.
There's this beautiful arbor with vines on it and hydrangeas and a red door.
Oh my gosh, can we just move in here?
And it was just so exciting to finally be here.
We were all like blown away.
Oh my, right. Look at this place. Awesome. First thing we did was sprint upstairs because, you know, we could tell that there was just a ton of light and it was going to be a great, comfy house for all of us to be in.
We were shocked how big it was. It's unreal. It was huge. I've never stayed in anything like this.
Big screen.
Oh my gosh.
We were all very excited.
Oh. Wake me up when you want to go.
Okay. Oh my.
This is amazing.
We're taking this one.
Ooh, I like
Oh my heck, that's awesome.
You guys, come check this out. Wow, that is beautiful. It's huge.
Chase shouted for us to come check out the view, and there right in front of us was Haystack Rock and the Needles, and it was amazing.
It was quite a breathtaking view from the balcony.
Haystack Rock was our next door neighbor. It was right there. It was perfect.
Rising 235 feet above the beach, Haystack Rock is so close you can walk right out to it. It's the first and last thing you notice when you visit Cannon Beach.
From the road, Haystack Rock looks like a rock, and that's it. And as you walk closer, you start to see birds and plants and little things that look like coral, and you're not sure. And then once you get even closer, you realize that there's so much life happening on the rock and around it. It's almost like a garden or its own little world right there.
The animals that live at Haystack Rock live in different zones, and as we go out toward the rocks, you can see that. There are animals higher up, lower down, they form unique bands.
Since 1985, a wonderful group of volunteers called the Haystack Rock Awareness Program has inspired tens of thousands to appreciate the delicate ecosystem that resides here.
See the black one too?
The black one's the cormorant?
Yes, it is. And that's probably a baby cormorant.
Where the high tide reaches is pretty much this brown barnacle line.
These volunteers helped us realize that it's actually a living garden. It's this breeding ground for so many different species, and not just sea life, but also animal life.
Can you touch the edge of one of these? It's squishy!
Those are alive?
Yeah, they're called sea anemones, and it's a cnidarian, so it's in the same family as jellyfish.
You don't think going out, just walking out to the rock, you'd see such diversity of life, but that was so much fun. It was fun to see all the different life that lives in these little tide pools.
So what we're looking at right now, these are called ochre sea stars, and we've got two different color variations here, a kind of a maroon color and an orangey color. The thing that's really interesting about the sea stars is that they like to eat these California mussels, which is what is at the top of the rock here.
I had never seen a starfish that I can remember, and so those were really fun. I couldn't stop taking pictures of them because I thought they were so neat.
The volunteers are amazing because you can tell everybody here in Cannon Beach cares so much about their little town and protecting it.
You could just tell that it was a huge act of love and a great service that the people here in Cannon Beach are offering to nature.
Some people come to Cannon Beach and never get to the beach. That's because the cottages, shops, and galleries along Hemlock, the main street, are worth a day trip by themselves. And you can take your best friend with you because, maybe more than any other town we know about, Cannon Beach is dog-friendly. At Dragonfire Gallery, instead of wall-to-wall pictures you could never afford, there's an eclectic mix of everything from garden gates to funky shoes. The art objects rival anything you would find in a big city. And like most of the shops in Cannon Beach, this one is hard to get out of without falling in love with something you must have.
The Dragonfire Gallery was so Cannon Beach to me. It wasn't just paintings or photography, there was jewelry.
Oh, that's cute.
Perfect at the top. And shoes.
Oh, that's so cute.
There were lamps.
Ooh. They had radiators that they had turned into kind of like an end table, and we were all like, why did we think of that? That's like so cool.
I love finding different things to make and create. I'm actually a welder, so it's fun for me to check out the welds on that piece of art and kind of come up with ideas of my own and see what other people do.
This is some glass art for your garden or your home. It's like Chihuly without a Chihuly prize.
The owner of the gallery was amazing because she knows about each piece so specifically. It's not just who does this or who buys for this gallery. She's right there with her dog.
Everything was so bright and colorful, and it was really neat to see all the different creations that are not the same thing you see every day. It was really a gorgeous gallery.
A good example of how the fine arts have influenced Cannon Beach is that you find working artists all up and down the town's main street. One of the most beloved is Bill Stidell. His sea-weathered studio on Hemlock feels like the hobbits lived here at one time. Snug in his leather chair, Bill creates works of pure fantasy.
How about that?
Just down the street in this unassuming little building, you can watch Jim Kingwell and Suzanne Kinlan literally play with fire. At Icefire Glassworks, they turn hot glass into articles of great beauty while you watch.
So many techniques have been around for centuries, but no one in their right mind would do what we do here.
The glass blowing experience was one of the coolest parts of the trip. I can definitely appreciate the time it takes and the amount of effort that goes into making those things.
Even though it took a little bit longer, that made it more interesting because we're waiting and waiting and you're seeing little changes.
It really is such a crazy process because they keep adding the glass and it becomes different colors. You think the glass that they pick, it will stay that certain color. They're so small.
This is why we've called the technique a bad hair day.
He's actually blowing it himself and it just gets so much bigger.
At first I was surprised how slowly it evolved, and then eventually it got to the point where it was a pretty big ball. I thought it was going to be a vase or something to hold flowers, and then all of a sudden...
Now I'm going to slow this down, and then we're going to ruffle the top.
He spins it out into some crazy plate. It was insane.
It was amazing. It was amazing to see it all come together after all the work that he put into making it.
Shockwaves.
Wow, I did not expect that.
Through the years, Jim and Suzanne have mentored many students. Reflections of this studio can now be seen all over the world. If you were asked to name wine regions of the west coast of the United States, Oregon might not be first on your list, but actually, wine lovers know that Oregon ranks second in the production of wine in the entire country. Winemaking in Oregon dates back to pioneer times in the 1840s.
And then here's a wine I'd like to show you. This is our Puffin Pinot Noir, and we have this exclusively made for us, and we donate a portion of every bottle of the Pinot Noir that we sell to Friends of Haystack Rock in the Haystack Rock.
I love that.
Isn't that great?
Yes. And of course, I was a sucker for that, a good cause. But the owner told me that the wine that's in there is amazing. And so I was glad to know it was going to taste good and I could help the Puffins. So that was a fun stop.
When you have a reservation at the EVOO Cannon Beach Dinner Show, they take the word show seriously. As a result, Robert Neroni and Lenore Emery's cooking school is known all over the country as a one-of-a-kind foodie experience.
What the dinner show actually represents is 3 whole menu courses so that we get lots and lots of recipes out to you tonight.
I love that they call it a dinner show, that you're definitely learning things like a class, but it's really a presentation, and that's part of cooking, is showing how they do it. It's an art.
These are organic heirloom tomatoes. All we've done is sauteed onions and garlic. We did a sofrito, which we'll talk about in a few minutes.
Ralph's not a really exotic eater, so I was kind of excited for him to try some new things.
The fine dining continuum between 1 and 10, 10 being the biggest foodie and most daring in trying food, I'm probably around a 1.5.
Some of his famous meals we've joked with him about are nachos, Skittles, and toast.
All right, Ralph.
All right.
So here's the deal, one more time.
So the chef, Bob, kind of picked on Ralph in the beginning and had him come up and do different foods with him, and that was so much fun for me because he's not usually the one in the kitchen.
Have you ever taken the sheets and kind of done this in bed? Really?
I have.
I was just making that up.
Making a bed, you lay it out nice.
So he can make a bed, but he can't cook.
I can make a bed.
Ralph. Yeah! Nice job.
I think his goal was to make me a little bit more of a foodie, and I think he did a pretty good job at that.
Ooh, right?
I think what most inspired me about Bob and Lenore is that they work together as husband and wife, and to be able to see what they've created together, I think that that's just awesome. To be able to work with the person you love the most, be able to share day in and day out the successes and also the failures of starting your own business. So it was a treat.
It's been a pleasure having you. Please come back again. One up.
Just north of Cannon Beach off Highway 101 is a winding road that leads to some of the most exquisite views in all of Oregon.
When you think of Oregon, this is exactly what I pictured.
I know, it's gorgeous.
These are the same paths of towering Sitka spruce that Captain William Clark of Lewis and Clark hacked through in 1806 to arrive at what today is Ecola State Park.
Inhale, sweep the arms around and up. The palms touch up overhead.
Kristen Alsop of Cannon Beach Yoga Arts comes here often.
Hands come to the shins as you lengthen forward, come up halfway to a flat back.
Yoga at a Cole Park was such a different experience. You're not in a studio. We were on, the grass overlooking this foggy morning view. It was so fun. And also, I've never done yoga with my husband or other boys, so that was pretty funny.
Beautiful, Ted, yes. Exhale.
I have done yoga once before that in my life and thought that was my first and last time ever doing yoga. I'm not flexible. I can barely say Indian style. But the view was gorgeous. The instructor, Kristen, was great. And we had an opportunity to, laugh a lot and get a little bit more of the breathtaking view of the area here.
Sweep the arms around and up.
I can't say that I'm very good at yoga now, but I can say that I've tried it and I enjoy it. Maybe would consider going a couple more times and trying it out.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Wouldn't you think that 6 young adventurers like these would be surfers? Well, most of them just haven't had the chance. They hail from Utah, which is ski and snowboard country. But at Cannon Beach Surf Shop, they welcome everyone from kids to full-fledged kahunas.
Perfect.
I'd never surfed before, so I didn't know really the degree of difficulty that it took to get up on a surfboard.
I'm like, well, I hope I'm not the only person who doesn't get up. That would be kind of embarrassing.
I know, we got 5 to 6 foot waves, a little bit of swell coming in.
Fortunately, Julie Adams is one of the best instructors on the West Coast.
We got all geared up in our surfboards and we walked down this rock pathway, down these trees, and it opened up to this beautiful little cove.
You guys ready for some surfing?
Julie was very encouraging. She spent time before we actually got out in the water teaching us how to get up and different safety techniques.
All right, so now everybody on your belly. You're gonna go down on your belly, paddle for your wave. You're paddling along, you feel the wave pick you up, take a few more paddles. 1, 2, hands back, slide the back foot, push and charge. You're on the board. Great job, everybody, you look great.
When I first stepped into the water, it was definitely like this initial shock of like, oh wow, we're actually doing this.
I had taken a couple surfing lessons, but never on waves that big.
I had never been surfing in my life, and I was kind of the last person to get up. My arms, I don't have great arm muscles, so my arms were pretty weak from just even carrying the board into the water.
We were kind of pressuring her into doing it. I mean, she wasn't going to be the only one that sat on the beach.
Once I got up on the board, I was like, okay, I can do this.
I was extremely proud of Abby. She did great.
Julie was great. She got all 6 of us standing up and catching some waves, and so I can't wait to do it again.
Personally, I get sick of eating out every meal, and I think it's so fun. It kind of brings you together. You're able to plan meals, and we don't get to do that often. I think it's just fun.
We each contributed in a certain way to make the meal, and is there something about, each of you making your own part to a meal that makes it really special?
Whenever we cook, I participate as little as possible. I'm not much of a foodie. I don't love cooking, but I did make the waffles.
After you all prepare that meal, you sit down together, and now here it is in front of us, and we share that home-cooked meal.
And this house is like the perfect size for our size group, don't you think?
Yeah. We love the food, but it's about the people too, and the experience of it. And that was such a fun breakfast, and to sit at this long table, that was one of my favorite moments.
Chances are that if you've ever seen a photograph of Cannon Beach, there's more than a good chance that George Vetter shot it. A longtime member of the Cannon Beach fine arts community, George has discovered more secret locations for great images than just about anyone. And now, He shares them on photo excursions with individuals or small groups.
George took us out a mile or two away from Haystack Rock, and he showed us that from that perspective, it was a much better shot.
What it does is by shooting from this distance, I got the whole scene, but I don't have all the people in it that would be down by the rock. And I've got a foreground that makes a really interesting foreground.
I'm usually the photographer. I'm usually the one that's setting up the different scenes or adjusting the cameras or different lenses or doing everything, just because that's always kind of been a hobby of mine.
I want you to just kind of, strike some poses. There you go. So I'm going to do some shooting. So let's do one standing up first, like so.
She's more of a point and shoot kind of girl.
I'm going to open up my f-stop more.
I think the lesson with George was fabulous for Emmy because she actually learned how to adjust the f-stop and how to compensate for light and dark and be able to expose our photos a lot better.
All right, can I look at them?
Come over here and check them out so we can wind through them here.
I feel like I know some things about photography, but he taught me so much more, and I have a lot more to learn now.
So we're going to follow them, and you're going to get your focus on one of their heads.
Well, I think that's why we go on vacations, is so that we can create those memories with each other. But if we don't take pictures and if we don't document it, then that memory only exists in our head.
Okay, guys, come back this way. We're going to do a jump. 1, 2, 3.
No, Ted, you're jumping on like 5.
Yeah, it's on 3.
Jump.
The Cannon Beach community looks out over 7.5 miles of open sandy beach, bordered by swaying seagrasses.